8 years ago, I left my hometown with nothing but a suitcase and an unborn child. My family called me careless and shameful for getting pregnant. My boyfriend disappeared the moment responsibility showed up. And my parents? They barely noticed, too busy praising my younger brother Brandon, their golden child. I swore I'd build something they could never take from me. Today, as I watch my daughter Ruby blow out 8 candles on her birthday cake, that promise echoes in my mind. My little apartment office has transformed into a 7-figure cybersecurity firm. Those sleepless nights coding while Ruby slept in a bassinet beside me paid off. But success tastes different when there's no one to share it with except the child who gave you reason to fight. "Mommy, can I have the corner piece?" Ruby asks, her eyes sparkling. "Whatever you want, birthday girl," I say, cutting her the biggest slice with extra frosting. My phone buzzes with congratulatory messages from employees, none from family. Raymond and Elaine Densley, mom and dad, probably don't even remember they have a granddaughter. Last I heard, they were still funding Brandon's 5th failed business venture with their retirement savings. The same Brandon who once told me, "Some people are born to shine, Mara. Others just exist." He was right about one thing. I wasn't born to shine. I built my light from scratch, one client at a time, while he coasted on charm and borrowed glory. Ruby licks frosting from her fingers, unaware of the family she's never met, unaware that her uncle gets more Christmas presents at 30 than she's received in her lifetime, unaware that her grandparents' refrigerator has no pictures of her. Sometimes I wonder if I made the right choice cutting them off. Then I remember how they laughed when I cried, how they blamed me when I needed help. Before I continue my story, let me ask you this. Have you ever been betrayed by someone you trusted most? If you have, you'll feel what happens next, deep in your soul. And if you know that kind of pain, hit subscribe. Not because it helps me, but because stories like this remind us that sometimes silence and strength are the best revenge. "Mom, why don't I have grandparents in the photos like other kids?" Ruby asks, clutching her school family tree project. The question I've dreaded for years. I set down my coffee cup, searching for the right words. "You have grandparents, sweetie. We just don't see them much." "Why not? Are they mean?" Mean is too simple. Mean doesn't capture how Raymond and Elaine Densley could slice you open with a compliment, how they could praise Brandon for breathing while ignoring my achievements. "They're complicated," I say finally. "Sometimes families need space from each other." Ruby frowns, unsatisfied, but drops the subject. Later that night, my phone lights up with a text from a number I haven't contacted in years. "Hey sis, turning the big 3-0 next weekend, throwing a party at mom and dad's. Don't be a stranger. Bring Ruby too. It's been ages. B." My stomach knots. Brandon, the golden boy who could do no wrong, suddenly remembers he has a niece. I type and delete 3 responses before settling on, "Thanks for the invite, I'll think about it." The truth? I'd rather walk barefoot over broken glass than watch Brandon hold court in our parents' backyard, accepting praise for his latest brilliant failure. But then Ruby bounces into my office, eyes wide. "Who was that, Mom? Was it work?" "No, it was your Uncle Brandon. He's having a birthday." Her face lights up like Christmas morning. "I have an uncle? Can we go? Please?" That hope in her eyes, the excitement of family she's never known, cuts deeper than any rejection I've ever faced. "You really want to meet them?" I ask. "Yes, I can make him a present, something special." I should protect her from them, shield her from the inevitable disappointment. But denying her family feels like admitting they still have power over me. "Okay," I hear myself saying, "we'll go." That night, I stare at old family photos, wondering if people can change in 8 years, if Brandon has grown up, if my parents might actually want to know their granddaughter. Hope is a dangerous thing when you've been burned before. But for Ruby, I'll walk through fire one more time. The Welcome to Oak Ridge sign looks exactly as it did 8 years ago. Faded blue paint, chipped corners, false promises. This town never changes. The same coffee shop where I studied during high school. The same courthouse where my ex vanished after denying paternity. The same suffocating smallness that once made me feel I'd never escape. "Is this where you grew up, Mom?" Ruby asks, her face pressed against the car window. "Yes, sweetie. Home, sweet home," I reply, the words tasting bitter. We stop for gas at Miller's, where Jen Wilcox, my old lab partner, works the register. Her eyes widen when she recognizes me. "Mara Densley! Oh my God!" She rushes around the counter. "Everyone said you were—" She stops, glancing at Ruby. "Everyone said what?" I ask, already knowing. Jen lowers her voice. "Well, Brandon told us you were struggling. Single mom stuff, you know. Said you were barely making rent in some tiny apartment." My stomach tightens. Of course. Brandon wouldn't let the truth interfere with his narrative. "Actually, I own a cybersecurity firm now," I say casually. "We're doing quite well." Jen's jaw drops. "Seriously? Wow." As we drive away, Ruby opens her backpack, pulling out a small box wrapped in homemade paper. "I finished Uncle Brandon's present last night," she says proudly. "I've been working on it for 3 whole months." Inside that box lies a handcrafted keychain, tiny colored glass pieces arranged into a heart with Brandon's initials. Hours of Ruby's small fingers working with glue and tweezers, determined to create something perfect for an uncle she's never met. "It's beautiful," I tell her, wondering if Brandon will even look twice at it. The familiar dread settles in my chest as we approach my parents' neighborhood. 8 years away, yet nothing's changed, except me. The Densley family home looks like a magazine cover. Perfect lawn, gleaming windows, warm lights that promise comfort they never delivered. Cars line the driveway, mostly luxury models that scream, "Look at me." Ruby squeezes my hand. "Your house is so big, Mom." "Not my house anymore," I remind her gently. Music pulses from the backyard. Designer decorations hang from trees. Crystal glasses catch sunlight. My parents always knew how to put on a show. Appearances matter more than substance in the Densley world. Brandon stands center stage, wearing a suit that probably cost more than my monthly rent. A crowd hangs on his every word. "There she is," he calls when he spots me. "My big sister finally returns." His hug feels rehearsed. He smells of expensive cologne and hollow success. "And this must be—" He pauses, pretending to search for the name. "Ruby," I supply. "Your niece." "Right. Uncle Brandon's got a present for you later, kiddo." Ruby beams, clutching her gift box tighter. My parents approach with practiced smiles. Mom's eyes scan my outfit, a simple blue dress that cost more than she'd guess. "Mara, you're looking healthy," she says, code for "you've gained weight." Dad pats my shoulder awkwardly. "Heard you're doing some computer work now." "She owns a company," Ruby announces proudly. "Mom has 28 employees." An uncomfortable silence follows. Brandon laughs, clapping a friend on the shoulder. "Come see what Thomas got me." He leads everyone toward a gleaming black BMW in the driveway. "Isn't she gorgeous?" 2023 model, fully loaded, he boasts. What Brandon doesn't mention, the $50,000 I transferred last month when he claimed he needed just a small investment for his business. The business that apparently consists of this car. His friends raise glasses. "To Brandon! Always landing on his feet!" If only they knew whose feet he landed on to climb so high. "Time for presents," my mother announces, clapping her hands like a game show host. The crowd gathers around Brandon, who sits in Dad's prized leather armchair like a king on his throne. Gifts pile high, expensive watches, vintage wines, designer clothing. Each one earns exaggerated gratitude and a story about why Brandon deserves the best. This watch is perfect for my meetings with investors, he says, slipping on a Rolex that probably cost someone's monthly salary. Ruby tugs my sleeve, her eyes wide with excitement. Can I give him my present now, Mom? I hesitate, sensing danger. Maybe we should wait. But she's already stepping forward, clutching her small box wrapped in paper she decorated herself. Uncle Brandon, she says, her voice small but clear. I made this for you. The crowd parts. Brandon's smile freezes as he takes the clearly homemade gift. The room quiets. What's this? He asks, tone shifting. Ruby beams. Open it! I worked on it for 3 whole months. Brandon tears the paper carelessly, opening the box with exaggerated slowness. He lifts the glass keychain, holding it up to the light. Time stops as I watch his face transform from confusion to disgust. What is this supposed to be? He asks, voice dripping with contempt. It's a keychain with your initials, Ruby explains eagerly. See the B in the middle of the heart? I made it all by myself. The silence breaks with Brandon's harsh laugh. This is what you give someone for their 30th birthday? A piece of trash? Ruby's smile falters. Brandon, I warn quietly, but he's already standing, holding the keychain between 2 fingers like something rotten. Maybe this is what poor people give as gifts. But in this house... He doesn't finish his sentence. Instead, he flicks his wrist, throwing the keychain across the room, directly at Ruby. It hits her cheek with a sharp edge, leaving a small cut that immediately beads with blood. Ruby gasps, hand flying to her face. The room erupts in laughter. Brandon's friends, my parents, even some distant relatives. They're all laughing at my 8-year-old daughter's bleeding face. Oh, don't be so dramatic, my mother says, rolling her eyes. It barely touched her. I kneel beside Ruby, wiping blood from her cheek with my thumb. Her eyes fill with tears, not from pain, but humiliation. In that moment, looking into my daughter's wounded eyes, something inside me solidifies into cold, hard resolve. You're right, Brandon, I say, my voice steady despite the fury coursing through me. This gift is too small for someone like you. I pick up the discarded keychain, placing it gently in Ruby's palm. Let's go, sweetie. Leaving already? The party just started. Brandon calls after us. If only he knew. His party was over. He just didn't realize it yet. The hotel room feels safe after the nightmare at my parents' house. Ruby sits quietly on the bed, while I clean the cut on her cheek, her eyes focused somewhere far away. It's not deep, I tell her, applying a small bandage. Won't even leave a mark. But some marks can't be seen. Mom? Ruby's voice is barely audible. Why doesn't Uncle Brandon like me? The question breaks something inside me. How do you explain to a child that some people are incapable of basic kindness? That family can sometimes be the cruelest strangers. It's not about you, Ruby, I say, sitting beside her. Some people don't know how to appreciate beautiful things, even when they're right in front of them. She nods, but I can see she doesn't believe me. Children always blame themselves. Did I do something wrong? She persists. No, baby. You did everything right. I hold her close, as silent tears soak my shoulder. After Ruby falls asleep, exhausted from crying, I step onto the balcony and make a call. Marcus? It's Mara. I need you to pull some files for me. Yes, tonight. My chief financial officer doesn't question the urgency. He's used to my late-night inspirations. They built our company. I need all documents related to Brandon Densley. Loan agreements, investment contracts, everything. Next call, my lawyer. Helen, remember that BMW lease we co-signed for my brother? I want to terminate it. First thing tomorrow. The third call is to my bank. By 2 a.m., I've drafted emails to every connection Brandon has through me. By 3 a.m., I've changed the passwords to all accounts he might access. Ruby whimpers in her sleep, hand unconsciously touching the bandage on her cheek. I watch her, this perfect child who spent months creating a gift for someone who couldn't spend 5 seconds appreciating it, who bled because my family found cruelty entertaining. 8 years ago, I left with nothing but my dignity. Tomorrow, I'll leave them with nothing but theirs, if they have any left. You know what hurts the most? Not what they did, but that I still tried to make them proud after everything. If you've ever given people too many chances, you already understand this pain. Don't just scroll, subscribe. Join people who've been through it too, because you deserve stories that make you feel seen. Morning comes with a clarity I haven't felt in years. Ruby and I check out early, but before leaving town, I make one stop, at a coffee shop with reliable Wi-Fi. While Ruby sips hot chocolate, I execute the plan I crafted overnight. First, an email to Tech Future Holdings, the startup Brandon convinced me to invest in last year. Effective immediately, I'm withdrawing all financial support and dissolving our partnership agreement. One click and $275,000 of funding evaporates from Brandon's business account. Next, a call to the leasing company. This is Mara Densley. I'm terminating the co-signed lease on the BMW registered to Brandon Densley. Yes, I understand the penalties. Process it immediately. Ruby looks up from her coloring book. Are we going home now? Almost, I say. Just one more thing to watch. We park across from my parents' house just as a tow truck pulls up. The driver checks his paperwork, then approaches the gleaming black BMW in the driveway, the same one Brandon showed off yesterday. The front door bursts open. Brandon rushes out in pajama pants, hair wild. "What the hell are you doing?" he shouts at the driver. "Repossessing this vehicle, sir. Lease terminated by the primary holder." Brandon spots my car and our eyes lock across the distance. The realization hits him like a physical blow. His face contorts with rage as he storms toward us. I roll up the windows just as he reaches the car, pounding on the glass. "What the fuck, Mara? You can't do this." Ruby shrinks back in her seat, eyes wide. "It's okay," I tell her, starting the engine. "He can't hurt us." Brandon's phone calls begin before we reach the highway. I watch his name flash on my screen 12 times before I block his number. The texts flood in from unknown numbers. "You're overreacting." "It was just a stupid keychain." "You're ruining everything I've worked for." "Mom and Dad are furious." Each message confirms I've made the right choice. By evening, we're home. I call my service provider and change both our phone numbers. "Mom," Ruby asks as I tuck her in, "are we ever going back there?" I stroke her hair gently, careful to avoid the bandage on her cheek. "No, sweetheart. Some doors are better left closed." The relief in her eyes tells me everything I need to know. The audit report arrives 3 days later. I requested a standard review when withdrawing my investment. Normal business procedure. What I didn't expect were the red flags on page 1. "Ms. Densley," my accountant begins carefully, "we've found significant discrepancies in how your brother allocated funds." My stomach drops as he explains. Brandon didn't just mismanage money, he deliberately funneled it into personal accounts. Fake vendors, inflated expenses, double billing. The total, $157,000 stolen from what was supposed to be his company's operating budget. My investment money. "This requires reporting," my accountant says. "It's textbook embezzlement." Before I can respond, my doorbell rings. Through the security camera, I see my parents' car in the driveway. "Ruby, stay in your room, okay?" I whisper, kissing her forehead. I open the door to 3 furious faces, Mom, Dad, and Brandon. "What have you done?" My mother pushes past me into the living room. Brandon looks terrible, unshaven, eyes bloodshot. Tell them you made a mistake with the audit, he pleads. Say it was a misunderstanding. There's no mistake. I stand my ground. You stole money, Brandon. Not just from me, from investors who trusted you. It was a temporary reallocation, he snaps. My father steps between us. Mara, this vindictiveness has gone too far. First the car, then the funding, now these accusations. They're not accusations, they're documented facts. Mother's voice turns sugary. Darling, families forgive. Brandon made an error in judgment, but destroying his future over a little incident. A little incident? I pull out my phone, showing them the photo I took of Ruby's cut face. Your son threw an object at my daughter's face. She was bleeding. Oh, please, Mother waves dismissively. Children get hurt all the time. You're using this as an excuse. Brandon grabs my arm. You have to fix this, Mara. They're talking about pressing charges. I look at his hand until he releases me. I didn't create the fraud, Brandon. I just exposed it. We're family, my father insists. I look at these three people, the ones who were supposed to love me unconditionally, and feel nothing but pity. No, I correct him quietly. We're related. There's a difference. The news breaks faster than I expected. Small towns feed on scandal, and Brandon's arrest for financial fraud is prime gossip material. My phone buzzes with notifications, local news links, social media updates, messages from old acquaintances suddenly remembering my existence. Local businessman faces embezzlement charges, reads the headline. Below it, Brandon's smiling face from his company website. The same smile he flashed while throwing a keychain at my daughter's face. I don't feel the satisfaction I expected. Just hollow confirmation that consequences eventually find everyone. Ruby notices my distraction during breakfast. Are you okay, Mom? Just work stuff, I lie, shielding her from the fallout. The afternoon brings an unexpected call from my father. His voice sounds aged, defeated. We had to take a second mortgage on the house, he says without preamble, for Brandon's legal fees. I say nothing. The lawyer wants $60,000 up front, he continues. We're using our retirement fund. The silence stretches between us. Mara, he says finally, this could have been handled privately. Like you handled my pregnancy? By shutting me out? He sighs. That was different. Yes, it was. I didn't break any laws. Later that day, my assistant forwards an email from my mother that somehow bypassed our filters. The subject line, "You destroyed our family." The body contains just 3 sentences. You think you've won, but you've only proven what we always knew. You're heartless. Brandon made a mistake, but you chose to ruin him. I hope your daughter grows up to hurt you like you've hurt us. I print it out, then lock it away. Someday Ruby might need to understand why we don't visit her grandparents. By evening, I hear from 3 of Brandon's investors, all wondering if I knew about the fraud earlier. The country club has paused my parents' membership pending the scandal's resolution. Their carefully curated social image, the one they sacrificed my well-being to maintain, crumbles around them. When I finally speak to my lawyer, she confirms what I suspected. Brandon faces potential jail time. Not because of me, but because of years of financial deception that my withdrawal simply exposed. That night, I sit on Ruby's bed as she sleeps, gently touching the healing cut on her cheek. When I finally stood my ground, they called me heartless. But tell me, where were they when I was breaking? If you've ever had to choose peace over people, this channel is your space. Subscribe, not for me, but for every quiet soul who took their power back. Mrs. Densley, do you have a moment? Ruby's art teacher, Ms. Winters, waves me over during school pickup. Her expression carries concern that immediately tightens my chest. Is Ruby okay? I ask. She's fine, but different lately, quieter. She drew this in class today. She hands me a drawing, a small figure hiding behind a door while larger figures laugh. The small figure has a red mark on her face. Has something happened at home? Ms. Winters asks gently. I hesitate, then explain our recent family visit. The birthday party. The thrown keychain. Recognition dawns in her eyes. Densley, you're Raymond and Elaine's daughter? Brandon's sister? You know my family? Ms. Winters smiles sadly. I grew up 3 houses down from you. I was 2 years behind you in school. The memory clicks. Sarah Winters. You used to wear purple glasses. That's right, she pauses. I saw how they treated you. Brandon especially. We move to a bench while Ruby plays on the playground. Sarah tells me things I'd forgotten or never known. How Brandon would take credit for my school projects. How he'd destroy my belongings, then blame me for being careless. How my parents would believe him every time. Once in 6th grade, she says, he stole your science fair project, the one about plant growth. He removed your name, put his on it, and won 1st place. Your parents threw him a party. The memory floods back, me crying in my room while celebration sounds drifted upstairs. I'd thought my project was lost, not stolen. Why are you telling me this? I ask. Sarah watches Ruby on the swings. Because when I saw that cut on her cheek, I recognized the pattern. Some people don't change, Mara. They just get better at hiding who they are. She squeezes my hand. Whatever happened between you and your family, don't doubt yourself. I saw it all growing up. You were never the problem. On the drive home, Ruby hums softly, her mood lighter after playing. Mom, she asks suddenly, are we bad people for not talking to Grandma and Grandpa anymore? I meet her eyes in the rearview mirror. No, sweetie. We're not bad people for protecting our peace. Ms. Winters says sometimes family is who you choose, not who you're born with. I smile. Ms. Winters is very wise. That night, I pull out old photo albums I've kept hidden for years. Looking at them now, with Sarah's revelations fresh in my mind, I see what I couldn't as a child, the constant positioning of Brandon in the spotlight, me in the shadows. The story was written long before I could read it. 5 months pass without a word from my family. The headlines about Brandon fade. Ruby's cheek heals without a scar. Life settles into a comfortable routine again. Work, school, home. No drama, no betrayal, just peace. Then the letter arrives. Plain white envelope, no return address. But I recognize the handwriting immediately. Brandon's careful, precise lettering. The same handwriting that once forged my signature on school permission slips. I leave it unopened on my desk for 3 days, not sure I want whatever's inside to enter my life again. Finally, on a quiet Sunday morning, I break the seal. Mara, I know you probably threw this away without reading it. I wouldn't blame you, but if you're reading, thank you. I'm working as a delivery driver now. Studio apartment on the east side. No BMW, no startup, no investors. Just me and a regular paycheck for the first time in my life. The fraud charges were reduced in exchange for full financial disclosure, community service instead of jail time. Mom and Dad had to sell their vacation property to cover legal fees. I keep thinking about Ruby's face when I threw that keychain. How I laughed. Who does that to a child? What kind of person was I? The truth is, I've been terrible to you our whole lives. I took and took and took. You gave and gave and gave, until you didn't. And that's when I finally saw myself clearly. I won't ask for forgiveness. I don't deserve it. I won't ask to see Ruby again. That's your call. I just wanted you to know that losing everything made me find something I never had. Perspective. Brandon. That night, I show the letter to Ruby. She reads it silently, her young face thoughtful beyond her years. Do you forgive him, Mom? She asks. I'm not sure yet, I answer honestly. She hands the letter back to me. I forgive him, she says with quiet certainty. But I don't want to see him again. In that moment, my 8-year-old daughter shows more maturity than my entire family combined. Some wounds heal without leaving visible scars. Others change us forever, hidden beneath the surface. The email arrives on a Tuesday morning. Subject line, Entrepreneur of the Year nomination. At first, I think it's spam. Then I notice the sender, Northeast Business Alliance, the region's most prestigious business organization. Dear Ms. Densley, your company's growth and innovation in cybersecurity has impressed our selection committee. We're pleased to inform you that you've been nominated for our annual Entrepreneur of the Year award. I read it twice, then forward it to my executive team with a single question mark. My COO calls immediately. This is huge, Mara. The gala is the networking event of the year. Pride mixes with anxiety as I scroll through the email details. Then my finger freezes over a particular paragraph. This year's ceremony will be held at the Grand Horizon Hotel on May 15th. The committee is pleased to announce that Raymond and Elaine Densley will be attending as guests of committee member Gerald Foster, my parents, at my award ceremony. The universe has a twisted sense of humor. Gerald Foster, my father's golf buddy. Of course he'd bring them, not knowing our history, or perhaps knowing exactly what he's doing. My first instinct is to decline the nomination. Why subject myself to their presence on what should be a night of celebration? Then Ruby finds me staring at my laptop. What's wrong, Mom? I explain the nomination and the complication. She considers this with remarkable seriousness. Are you going to say no because of them? I'm thinking about it. But you always tell me not to let other people stop me from doing important things. My own words, reflected back with perfect clarity. That evening, Ruby helps me draft an acceptance speech. She insists we focus on resilience, the way you built something from nothing, Mom. As we work, I realize I'm no longer the young woman who left town with nothing but a suitcase and unborn child. I'm not defined by their rejection anymore. I'm going to accept, I tell Ruby finally. Good, she says firmly, because you earned it. And they should see that. Out of the mouths of babes comes wisdom that adults spend lifetimes seeking. The Grand Horizon Hotel glows against the evening sky as my car pulls up to the entrance. Ruby insisted I wear the deep blue dress. It makes you look like a boss, Mom. And my hands shake slightly as I smooth it down. Inside, the ballroom buzzes with success stories. CEOs, investors, entrepreneurs whose names appear in business magazines. My team meets me at the entrance, their proud faces a reminder of how far we've all come together. There's a table reserved up front, my COO whispers, and I spotted your parents near the bar. My stomach tightens. I scan the crowd and find them immediately. Mom in her signature pearls, Dad looking uncomfortable in his tuxedo. They haven't seen me yet. You don't have to speak to them, my assistant offers, but I know I do. Not for them, for me. The ceremony begins with introductions and appetizers. Award after award is presented until finally, Entrepreneur of the Year is announced. This year's recipient built a 7-figure company from nothing while raising a child alone. Her innovations in small business cybersecurity have revolutionized how local companies protect themselves. The spotlight finds me. Applause fills the room as I walk toward the stage, feeling strangely calm. From the podium, I can see my parents clearly. Mom's face frozen in surprise. Dad's eyes wide with recognition. They didn't know I was the nominee. Thank you for this honor, I begin. 8 years ago, I left this town with nothing but determination and an unborn daughter. People told me I would fail, that single mothers don't build successful businesses. I pause, meeting my parents' gaze directly. But sometimes being underestimated is your greatest advantage. When no one expects you to succeed, every victory is yours alone. I speak about resilience, innovation, and the team that helped build my company. Not once do I mention family rejection or hardship. Success is my only revenge. After the ceremony, well-wishers surround me with congratulations. Through the crowd, my father approaches hesitantly, mother trailing behind him. Mara, he begins awkwardly. That was impressive. We're proud of you. 8 years of longing for those words, and now they sound hollow. Thank you, I reply politely. I wish you'd been proud before you needed a reason. My mother flinches. My father looks down. Ruby asks about you sometimes, I add, not unkindly. Maybe someday we can try again, when you're ready to see us both for who we really are. I walk away first, something I should have done years ago. 1 year later, Ruby runs through the door waving a certificate. First place, Mom! My science project won! I sweep her into a hug, remembering Sarah Winter's story about Brandon stealing my project all those years ago. The cycle ends here. Tell me everything about it, I say, hanging the certificate on our victory wall, the kitchen space dedicated to Ruby's achievements. While she chatters about experimental methods and results, my phone buzzes with a news alert from my hometown paper, Densley Family Home Sold in Downsizing Move. A small photo shows a for sale sign in front of my childhood home. The brief article mentions my parents moving to a condo after recent financial adjustments. I close the notification without commenting. Their choices, their consequences. Later that week, a short email arrives from Brandon. Got promoted to delivery manager. Small steps, hope Ruby's doing well. No manipulative requests. No dramatic declarations. Just a simple update, expecting nothing in return. I send a short reply. Congratulations on the promotion. Ruby won her science fair. She's happy and thriving. That evening, my financial advisor calls about year-end planning. Your parents' medical bills are mounting, she mentions carefully. They're struggling but won't accept direct help. Would you consider establishing an anonymous health fund? I think about Ruby's words from months ago. Being kind doesn't mean you have to be close to them. Set it up, I tell her, but keep my name off everything. Some might call it weakness, helping those who hurt you. Others might call it mercy. I call it freedom, the ability to choose kindness without expecting recognition. The ultimate victory isn't watching others fall. It's rising so high that their opinion no longer determines your worth. Ruby understands this instinctively. We help because we can, she says when I tuck her in that night. Not because they deserve it. From the mouth of my child comes the wisdom I fought years to find. 8 years later, Ruby's 16th birthday arrives with the kind of quiet joy that once seemed impossible. The dining room table holds a small cake, 16 candles, and one special gift box that I've kept hidden for years. Make a wish, I tell her, watching my daughter, now tall, confident, with eyes that hold both kindness and strength. She blows out the candles in one breath, then reaches for the gift I've placed before her. The box is simple, wrapped in silver paper. This feels important, she says, studying my expression. It is. Inside is a glass display case, small but elegant, and within it, carefully preserved, lies the keychain she made for Brandon all those years ago, the colored glass heart with his initials that once drew blood from her cheek when he threw it. You kept it? Ruby whispers, touching the glass. I found it on the floor after we left. I've kept it all this time. Ruby looks up, confused. Why would you keep something that hurt us? I take her hands in mine. Because it wasn't the keychain that caused pain. It was how little they valued what you created. I kept it to remember that nothing you make with love is ever trash, even if others can't see its worth. Tears fill her eyes as she understands. This keychain represents something important, I continue. Never let anyone make you feel small, even when they're family. Ruby opens the case, gently touching the mended glass pieces. It's still beautiful, even broken. Just like us, I smile. Years pass in the blink of an eye. Soon we're standing in a college dormitory, boxes piled around us. Ruby, now 18, arranges her desk while I pretend not to cry. Psychology major, she announces proudly, pinning her schedule to the bulletin board. I want to help kids from toxic families find their strength. The glass display case sits on her shelf, a reminder of where we've been and how far we've come. Are you sure you'll be okay? She asks, watching me fight tears. I'm more than okay, I assure her. I'm proud of you, of us. She hugs me tightly. We built something they could never take away, didn't we? Yes, I whisper. We built ourselves. As I drive away from campus, leaving my heart behind in that dormitory, I realize the revenge I once sought was never about hurting my family. It was about healing myself, about breaking cycles so Ruby could rise without the weight I carried. Sometimes revenge isn't about payback, it's about peace. And if this story touched you, subscribe right now, because somewhere out there, another person is watching in silence, needing a reminder that they're not alone, and your one click might help them find it.